Have you ever been banned from doing a good deed? I'm not talking about burning trash in the backyard or blasting karaoke at 3 a.m. I mean building a tiny, cozy wooden house for orphans. That's all I did. A small cabin with a roof, painted, fully permitted. But then Karen, the new HOA president, showed up with a rulebook thicker than a high school calculus textbook and her signature phrase, "It ruins the aesthetic of the neighborhood." Aesthetic? Sorry, but if giving kids shelter from 90-degree heat somehow ruins the vibe, then maybe your vibe needs fixing. And instead of whining or going on a social media rant like they hoped, I did the one thing no one saw coming. I turned the HOA's own front yard into a national summer camp filled with laughter. Now sit down, grab a glass of sweet tea, because you haven't heard the whole story yet. My name is Jack Barnes. I'm 57 years old, a former PE teacher. My wife passed away 8 years ago. No kids, no inheritance. Just a small house in Maplewood Grove, Virginia, and a heart that melts every time I hear children laugh. Every weekend, I spend my time at St. Elmo's Haven, teaching the kids how to play ball, pitch tents, make s'mores. They call me Super Uncle Jack, even though I'm only 5'9" and live with chronic back pain. To thank those kids for warming up my lonely heart again, I used part of my retirement savings to build a tiny cabin in my backyard, a place they could escape to during summer, away from the blistering city heat. I didn't ask the HOA for permission, because I didn't need to. I filed the papers with the city, got the permits, built within boundaries, even used reclaimed oak wood. I called it the Kindness Cabin Project. But then, Karen moved in, and she called it a blight on the neighborhood landscape. Well, if Karen thinks that was a blight, then I'm about to show her what real disruption looks like. Karen didn't come alone. She came armed with a clipboard, sunglasses the size of lily pads, and a beige pantsuit, the kind of outfit worn only by two types of people, lawyers and people who live to make others miserable. She marched right onto my lawn, pointed at the half-finished cabin, and said, "Mr. Jack, this structure is violating Section 14, Article 6 clause. I just don't like how it looks." I told her, "Karen, I have a permit from the city." She shot back, "But you don't have our permission." Our? Who's our? The HOA book club ladies with matching cat print t-shirts? Not even a week later, I got my first warning letter. "Cease construction immediately. Your sawing disturbs the peaceful living experience." Sawing wood at 10 a.m. is now considered noise terrorism? What about Bob's lawnmower every Sunday at 7 a.m.? Or Karen's dog howling like a siren every time it sees a sparrow? No fines for those noises. Next came the daily fines. $100 a day for public exposure of construction materials. A fancy way of saying I had wood lying on my own lawn. Then the HOA had a private meeting. I wasn't invited, of course, but a kind neighbor secretly sent me screenshots from the group chat. If we keep the pressure up, he'll tear it down himself. He won't be able to handle it. Tear it down? They really thought I'd fold like a Walmart lawn chair? Oh no, my friend. They didn't know I taught public school PE for 20 years. I don't bend. I fight back. I didn't call the cops. I didn't go on Facebook to rant about the HOA. I did the one thing no HOA ever expects. I called Lisa. Lisa, my old high school friend, now a land use attorney who specializes in taking down HOAs that think they're royalty. I said, "I need to buy some land." She asked, "Where?" I said, "Right in front of the HOA office." Turns out, that patch of perfect green lawn next to HOA headquarters wasn't owned by the HOA. It was an abandoned parcel, left behind by a doctor who moved away in 2008. And guess what? Exactly 7 days later, my name was on the deed. New owner, Jack Barnes. At the same time, Lisa helped me file for a permit to designate the land as a temporary community activity site for children in need. And the city approved it. Just like that. Like a Thanos snap if Thanos loved kids and hated HOAs. I didn't build a fence. I didn't post a keep out sign. I just placed a simple wooden board in the grass, right outside the HOA meeting room window. Freedom Field. For every child who was once turned away. Karen saw it. Karen panicked. But trust me, the real fun was just getting started. That Saturday, I woke up at 5:30 a.m. The sky was barely light when the tent started going up. Plastic chairs lined the lawn like a parade. Twinkle lights strung between the old oak trees, like something out of a Hallmark movie. And then, the yellow school bus rolled in. Waves of kids, braided hair, backpacks bouncing, grins wide as the sky, poured out like a sweet storm of laughter. 30 kids from St. Elmo's Presence. 12 more from the Gloucester County Center. And the special guests? 2 therapy goats named Pickles and Pancake, courtesy of my grandniece's farm. I stood in the grass, right in front of HOA headquarters, microphone in hand, and shouted, "Welcome to Freedom Camp, little warriors." You think Karen stayed quiet? Oh, absolutely not. 15 minutes later, she stormed out of the HOA office with a face like a sour apple that forgot it was supposed to be a pear. Phone in hand, finger pointing like she'd spotted a criminal. They're disturbing the peace. The police showed up. A calm officer asked, "Do you have a permit, sir?" I pulled a thick folder from my shirt pocket stiff as a piece of burnt toast and said, "All of them. Want color copies or black and white?" Karen was speechless. Behind me, the kids were tying their shoelaces while singing, "If You're Happy and You Know It." The officer chuckled. That day, we had water balloon fights, face painting, hot dogs, and a music stage set up right across from the HOA signboard. Karen slammed her office door just before the Zumba performance began. But the local news cameras, they didn't miss a single second. That evening, I made the 6 o'clock news with the headline, "Retired Uncle Turns O into Childhood Playground and Wins Every Dance Battle." I thought after a full day of laughter and hot dogs, Karen might curl up on the couch, hug a pillow, and reflect on the meaning of compassion. But no. She came back Monday morning with a stack of papers, as thick as Napoleon's battle plans. The HOA filed a formal complaint with the city, accusing me of misusing community land to host activities that conflict with local cultural values. Cultural values? You mean like trimming grass to the inch, hanging autumn flags, and pretending orphan kids don't exist? Worse, they posted a notice on the community bulletin board. Warning: unauthorized activities occurring near the clubhouse. Parents, exercise caution. Parents? These are orphans. And no, I'm not handing out candy laced with anything illegal. The only thing addictive on that lawn is Miss Ruby's mac and cheese, which she makes for the kids from scratch with love. But here's the best part. Half the neighborhood stood with me. People who used to only say hi in passing brought over muffins. One sweet old lady walking her dog even slipped me a $20 bill and whispered, "Buy more water balloons for the little ones." And Karen? She locked her office door, pulled the blinds tight. Meanwhile, the local newspaper, they called me the Lawn Avenger, the hero who fought back on the grass. A week later, Karen resigned. No farewell letter. No cupcakes. Just a single A4 sheet of paper and a smudged stamp, as blurry as her reputation. The HOA office shut down. The once sterile lawn that used to host Polite Residence Day was now a tug-of-war battlefield, filled with water fights and bubble soccer. I still live in my same old house, with the little cabin out back, now proudly renamed the Laughing Cabin. The city officially recognized Freedom Field as a nonprofit community space, with me as the volunteer manager and the accidental DJ every Saturday night. Then one day, I received a postcard. No return address. Handwritten in purple ink. Jack, you won. And so did the kids. Thank you for not backing down. Maybe it was Karen. Maybe not. Either way, I pinned it to the fridge, right next to a photo of the kids dancing Zumba in the rain. Because sometimes, to win a battle, you don't need to yell. You just need to pitch a tent, turn up the music, and let the laughter speak for itself.